Hello, and welcome to the Cleveland International Film Festival Film Slam Streams. My name is Eric Siler, and I am your moderator for this conversation. I'm a professor of film, communication, and media arts. We are so excited for you to join us today for our post-film conversation for the Amazing Rockable. And we are joined by the director of that film, Loïc Nicoloff. Loïc is joining us from the south of France today. And Loïc, hello and welcome.
Hello, yeah, thanks for inviting me to speak about my movie.
Well, it's so good to have you. And we have students that are watching this conversation, and some students are actually taking French or studying in French. Can you say a special greeting to them in French?
Eh bien, bienvenue à tous ceux qui parlent français, qui vont me comprendre en français. J'espère que, ben voilà, je suis ravi de vous rencontrer et je suis ravi de vous rencontrer ici.
Okay, well, that's great. And bonjour to all our French-speaking students.
Great.
Well, great. The Amazing Rockable. It's amazing. It's almost like two films in one, of superhero film and mildly superhero, and also a nice little narrative as well. How did you come up with this idea to create such a great story?
Oh, first, it's the story of of Rocambole. It's very common in France. It's a story we tell within the writer's world. It's a story of a writer who wins about against his editor. So it's very we are very pleased to speak about that story. So I read for the story 20 years ago, and it's I keep in mind maybe because I thought that one day I can write tell this story with a movie. And 6 years ago, one day, as I think, oh, maybe it's a good story to tell, and I write it. It's very expensive, so I thought that I can never find a producer to do that, and we never find the money to produce it. And yes, it's a dream come true, and we find the money, but it was not easy. We spent 2 years to find the money. And after, there's a lot of difficulties to do an historical movie with sets, props, costumes, etc.
Interesting. So, the character of Rockable, um, did you ever consider just focusing on doing the film about him and not having the story about the writer?
In France, we had a very famous and successful series in the 60s. It's Rocambole. It's the same, and it's very popular, and everybody know that story. So it's not very interesting to tell that story of Rocambole, and it's it's 19th century French, and it's quite hard to read now. And I was very interested by the writers of the century. There is Ponson du Terrail, the writer of Rocambole, but we have Alexandre Dumas, the Three Musketeers, the Count of Monte Cristo. We have a lot of writers who write by episodes. When I realized that they invented cliffhanger, and the tools to catch the attention of the audience. And I realized that all that story, like Rocambole, is the first series, and the first things that I thought a lot of 24, the series with Kiefer Sutherland, and it's the same way to tell stories. You have a cliffhanger, and you have a lot of things to read and to happen in every episode. And when you finish an episode, you want to see the next episode. And it was the same in writing in the 19th century in France.
Interesting. You chose to create Pierre as a writer to help carry out the story. why did you take that approach to use a newspaper writer to help tell the story of, Rockabole?
Ah, it's an historical fact. In 19th century, there are not a lot of books. There's a lot of series in newspaper, and usually the bottom of the page of the front page is for series. So everybody, it's a good commercial thing to a newspaper to have a very successful series, because every reader are going to buy the next issue every day, and every day they looking for writers who can hook the audience, the reader. And it's a very different thing to do a novel, a whole novel at the time, and there are a lot of more author for series in newspaper than a novel author. Is that clear?
Right. So it's clear in the sense that, people really looked to the newspapers at that time for their source of information. And
Yeah,
right.
it's the books are very expensive at that time, so very few people can buy it. At in 19th centuries, that there's no library, but there is sort of um, reader's shop, shop you can you pay a fee at the entrance. You can eat, you can not eat, you can drink, and you can read everything in the room. So a lot of people read books, not buying them, but going to that place, because there
Oh,
are no at that time there no library in France.
oh, good. And interesting. That's interesting to
It's
know.
a sort
So,
of readers club, you know.
right. It's exactly. So, but I mean, that wasn't the only part of the entertainment that was in the newspaper. That wasn't the only part. The newspaper still had news of what's going on in the
That's
area.
it. That's it.
Okay, that's really good to know about that. With that,
And
the,
it's interesting because I didn't know all of that. It's when I want to write and do a lot of research to know better that century, and I love writing scripts and doing movie for that, for the research, and discover a lot of things that I never intended to find.
right. I see. Well, this is really good that you did that. Let's talk a little more specific about the film.
Yep.
It was high production value with the film. The costumes, the effects, and the actors, and so forth. How long did it take for you to actually make this film?
Okay. Since the writing of the first draft of the script, we spent 2 years to find the money, because it cost at the end it costs 145,000 euros. It's about $150, $50,000, I think, something like that. So it's a lot of money, and every euro is in the screen, because the producer don't take anything for them. They put all the money on the movie, and have to pay an extra 20,000 euros to complete the budget. So it costs a lot, and it takes a lot of time to find the money. And after that, we spend about 6 months to find all the sets, because we don't have the money to build some sets. So we have to find places we can just hide the modernity and the modern things, and pretend it's from 19th century. We shot in Strasbourg. It's a southern east, so it's northeast of France, and it's a city that which was destroyed in the 19th century by the Prussian, the older German. So everything on that city is from the 19th century. Look, it's easy to find buildings, it's easy to find things, but we spent 6 months to find all the sets and to know how to find the props, because it's not easy, and there's a lot of time to collect everything to do that. You know, the one set is the room with Ponson du Terrail and his wife. It's a very amazing place because it's abandoned since 20 years. Nobody was there since 20 years, and we have to rebuild the stairs to go there, and to do all the props, and to collect all the props and install there. And it was there we spent a lot of time to prepare all the things. We shot all the movie in 6 days.
Wow.
So six sets, 6 days. So it was all very prepared, all storyboarded, and we have to do that to shot it in time. So it was I think it's a lot of more pre-production than any short movie I ever do, or people can do.
Mm.
But it's the condition. You know, we when we have a lot of money but not enough money. It's always the case in movies, of course, and we have to be clever and a bit lucky. For instance, for all the, you know, in the scene we have all extras with costumes. We find some passionate of the 19th century costumes. There's an association near Strasbourg, which there are 50 people they like to gathering with costume, with 19th century costume, and do nothing, just go to places. And we have the luck to find them. So it costs us quite nothing to have them in the movie. And it's luck, and it's almost time to do the research and try to find some trick, some tip to have more to have more on screen that we have in our pocket.
Mhm. Well, yeah, they did a really good job with the research, especially with the costumes
Yeah.
too. It was a very authentic feel, and there weren't. I couldn't really see shortcuts at all. So, congratulations on that. I just
Thank
want
you.
to remind our students that are watching. We're a little more than halfway through our conversation with the director of the amazing Ramako. And if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. We do have one question that came in French, and I was able to translate it using the translator. And it is why did you choose the same actor from Roncable and Ponce de Terrell, the same actress for Blanche and the wife of Ponce de Terrell?
Oh, it's. I think it's the idea that when you write something, you put yourself on what you're writing, and it's. You know, the trick is when the writer think about a villain, you know, the antagonist, he thought about his editor, so it's it's quite his antagonist in the real life. And I think it's a common thing with writer. We write about things we know, and even we imagine we create from scratch some characters. We always think about some people we know, something we see in the movie, and that idea that to have the same actor to do both role, it's quite the incarnation of that thing.
Yeah, true, and also it's economical.
Ah, yeah, it's and the pleasure for actors. You will come to an actor and say, okay, I have one movie and you have two roles.
Right, exactly.
It's quite different, it's quite interesting.
Right, and that's good to see, because usually sometimes when actors do two roles, you find them playing the role of their twin, brother or twin sister, and in that respect, with that. Another thing about the film was you usually Pierre was asking for a raise. Is that pretty much accurate in terms of writers getting paid like 25 cents a line, and he wanted 40 cents a line? Is that?
It's quite difficult to find. I did a lot of research, and I find the price of Alexandre Dumas in 19th century to the price he was paid for his first novel, his first series, and the last. So I quite use that information, but what is interesting in that negotiation is that what inspired me for that movie is my relation with producers. And it's the principle of art. You have the creation and the money, and you have some creators and some producers. In that movie, it's a writer versus his editor, is a publisher. For me, it's my script. I'm a screenwriter and director, and in front of me, I have producers, and it's always the same. I pretend to be paid a lot of money, and the producer has no money to pay. So it's that negotiation, and it's the same in every negotiation for the art. It's art versus money. You need the both of the thing, but it's difficult when you create. It's difficult to find money, and well, okay.
Right, it is. So you have to work with what you have. So can you tell us what's next for you? Is there going to be a sequel to this, or are you going to make this into a feature? What's next?
I tried to write a feature with it's a small series with Rocambole, but we can find the money to do that. So I worked on actually I work on 2 full feature movie scripts with 2 different producers, and I just finished writing a new short movie, contemporary. So it takes place nowadays, but I think it may be more expensive than Rocambole, because it takes place in the night at a symphonic orchestra. So there are a lot of musicians we have to pay, and it's maybe as difficult as Rocambole.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, good. We wish you the best with that project.
Thank you.
Okay, we're almost out of time. Just have one last question for you. Is there anything you would have done differently with this film? I know you spent a lot of time in research and development and storyboarding. What would you have done differently?
Oh, I spent a lot of time, a lot of time on the relationship between Ponson du Terrail and Blanche. And I think I'm not satisfied with that relationship. It's work. I think it's work on the screen, but it's not very deep. It's so I think I rewrite all the relationship between Blanche and Ponson. I think it's my only regret in that movie. It's at that point on the script, and it was I fight 6 months on the script to try it to make it richer and deeper, but I'm not quite satisfied with that. And when when you do a movie, every time you have to improve something. Yeah, every movie, I may have do it better. So for the next movie, I do it better.
You do it. Oh, it's like that every year.
Yeah.
You always want to, we critique ourselves. We're our harshest critics. So,
Yeah,
but
yes.
I think you did a really fine job and told a fun and amazing story. And we really thank you for joining us today. And
You're
um,
welcome. I'm very pleased to be there.
yeah, great. And could you say a special goodbye to our French language students?
Et ben, à tous les Français, ceux qui vont me comprendre, merci d'avoir vu Rocambolesque. Et puis, j'espère que vous aurez pris beaucoup de plaisir à ce film. Et ben, au plaisir, à bientôt. OK.
Okay, well, great. Well, I'd like to thank our special guest once again, Loïc Nicoloff, the director of the Amazing Rockaball, for
Thanks for
joining us
all. Thanks,
today.
thanks to all.
Yes, merci beaucoup to you,
Yeah,
and merci beaucoup to our
un
French speaking
plaisir.
students and all of our other students joining us out there. We're glad that you took some time out to be a part of this invigorating and important conversation. For more information about the upcoming 45th Cleveland International Film Festival, please continue to follow CIFF on social media and visit clevelandfilm.org. I'm Eric Siler. Thank you.